Hello, my beautiful stars. Welcome back to Path of Spirals Tarot. It's me, your host, your troll telling riddles under the bridge, Claire. Yes, I love telling people what I do for a living. I tell myths and fables. I'm channeling the ether. People are like, huh? What? The normies are like, what is she doing? What is she doing here? Yeah, I'm just spitting straight facts with my spirit guides, okay? I know at this point, excuse me, please let me excuse something in advance here, okay? I have a little bit of postnasal drip. I'm drinking a matcha. See, my swamp juice is here to save the day. But I'm sorry because like clearing my throat, I kind of sound like a horse. And I know that it's almost the fiery horse of the Chinese zodiac New Year coming, but it's a little early. But I digress. Do you see what I mean? Anyways, hello everyone. How are we all doing? How are we doing? As of today, it is February 11th. If you're new around these parts, welcome. I do grouped readings 3 days a week, long form, and I do shorts Tuesdays and Thursdays. So you're getting a reading 5 days a week. If you like that sense of stability, you like to add my sweet, soothing siren voice to your morning routines or your cleaning routines or your baptizing routines. For those of you who have to go to weekly baptisms, I don't know what you're into these days, but I'm open-minded. I'm open-minded, okay? This is a judgment-free zone. I might roast you to filth. I might lay it out like it is, but I'm never going to make fun of you. Because if you knew some of the stuff that I've been through, if you knew what I've been through, yeah, we would not be throwing, what's the saying? We would not be throwing stones at glass houses. Is that the saying? We wouldn't be throwing moss at wood houses, guys. We wouldn't be throwing fidget spinners at Spencer's, would we? Okay. Anyways, you came here for a reading, and that's what you're gonna get. First, we're gonna do a little astrological forecast for the date today. If you're just here for the timeless reading, because you don't have to come and watch it on the day that I upload it, then feel free to skip ahead. Timestamps are always in the description. But I do like to give us a little landing pad for whatever astrological events are happening. And as of today, not too much. We're just going to talk about the moon, and then we're going to keep it moving. Okay? And then you're going to pick one of your glyphs, and we'll get to that in a minute. And then we're going to talk about the 3 card spread we're doing today, /4. We're doing a red light, yellow light, green light reading. Okay? Things you can stop with, things you can maybe yield to, and things that get a big yes energy. And then we'll pull an additional card to figure out like what facet of life that is. And that's going to be today's reading. Okay? Now, without further ado, we have a last quarter moon. We're nearly at crescent moon, okay? Tomorrow is the crescent moon. Last quarter moon in Sagittarius. Okay? Thinking that we are heading towards new moon. New moon energies represent release, recalibration. Sagittarius, right? The archer that never misses. Being honest with yourself about where your compass is. Where is your true north, y'all? Why are you pretending that it's south? Kind of like that vibe, you know? Recalibrate. It's a good time to just think, you know, what could get a new trajectory in life? Trajectory. Where in life could you get a trajectory that could be a little bit different? Okay? That's what I got for you guys, okay? Short, sweet, and to the point. There are things coming up this weekend. Tune in on Friday. We'll be talking about the Saturn going into Aries on Friday. It's going to be Friday the 13th in 2 days. Oh my God, I'm so excited. And then, Valentine's Day. So I might throw y'all a bone and give you guys a love reading for Friday because it's in the spirit of love and light. Might give you one of those. You have to like and subscribe and maybe even hit that notification bell. If you're into that kind of thing. I don't think I've ever hit a notification bell in my life, but I'm worth it. Okay, guys, this whole shindig we have going on, it's worth it. All right, anyways, what do we have here today? We have 3 glyphs. 3 glyphs. 3, count them, 3 glyphs. I have watercolored these with masking tape. No AI slop here, y'all. We have sort of something akin to my logo. A spiral heart, an infinity sign, and a tea kettle and a tea. You know, part of what inspired me to make this one is my grandma has a special interest in tea kettles, and she got tea kettles that decorate her whole house. I don't think she has an autism diagnosis, but all signs point to. My son is obsessed with infinity, just like the concept of numbers never ending. He's 6, but he has a lot of existential questions about infinity. And I don't know, I just thought she was cute. And today is the first time I'm breaking out for a long form reading, the Herbal Tarot. Now this is RWS inspired, but as you can see, you're going to have different kind of herbs here. Death has elderflowers, and I have the little booklet that kind of gives you a rundown. Like Queen of Wands, raspberry leaf, that just makes sense because raspberry leaf is for, fertility and for, feminine reproductive supporting qualities. So those who made this deck went into deep meditation about what each card would be represented when it comes to herbs. So it can give an additional layer of deepening the understanding of the card in a sort of nuanced way by like synthesizing what herbs and tarot together could represent when it comes to their qualities, their energies, because the herbs are doing something to our body, but also there's a spiritual element to it as well. Now I'm not gonna lie, I'm much more of a fungal girly. That sounds gross. I love mushrooms. I know a lot more by comparison from plants. I know a lot more about mushrooms. So maybe I'll have to get my hands on a mushroom tarot at some point or make it myself if that doesn't exist because that would be so fun. But nonetheless, I'm here to learn. Just because I'm giving the reading doesn't mean I'm not a student. We're all students of life. We're all students of life, right? Okay, so we're going to be using these today. There's a couple things too, like they don't call the devil, they call the devil Pan. Wherever the hanged man is in here, they call them the suspended person. Maybe because it is a little bit more inclusive language, less triggering language. I don't know. I don't personally find, here he is. Here's the suspended person. The suspended person. I guess because like a hanged man might imply that the person's not alive. And for those of us who have ancestral wounds around hanging in a different way, not just hanging out, if you know what I mean. I guess that makes sense. So they were being considered of their language, and if you're into that, you're into that. I didn't even consider it when I bought it, but then I went through all the cards. I was like, wow, you know what? This really makes me stop and think about like why words matter. Okay, but nonetheless, we are using these cards today so that you can get your red light, yellow light, green light reading. Okay, but no squid. This is not the Squid Games. The stakes are not that high, unless you make them that high, unless it is that big a deal. So you're gonna just have a little look here and tell me which one is calling your name today. Have a little look and we'll get started with group 1. All right, y'all, I felt like this deck, I haven't worked with it so much in the past couple of weeks, so I feel like we need to kind of wake it up. We're gonna do a couple things before we start with group 1, okay? Obviously, first and foremostly, we are calling in God, Source, Gus, Allah, Source's highest energies alongside archangels, ancestors, spirit guides, totem animals, mandalas, whatever you work with that feels like a guide for you in the ether. We're calling all of those in so that me as the reader and you as the audience and as the individual can connect with one's highest good and the best message for you today. We're also going to put in a crystalline dome over the reading so that we will be keeping good energies in. We'll be putting dangerous energies out, especially if something heavier topics might potentially come up, and we don't want that to attract anything beyond actionable, positive, forward momentum, and whatever energies and entities and God's mercy that can come in and help with that. That's what we want. We definitely don't call in anything else other than that today. So yeah, we're just going to charge the deck a little bit here, guys. And I also have all of these cards upright because I had this feeling that there was too many reversals. So these are all upright right now. We're going to, right now, just flip half of it and shuffle them a bunch. Now, the way that this reading is going to work today, we are pulling a total of probably 4 cards, and we will pull an establishing card. If the major arcana comes up, it's going to be an unavoidable larger theme in your life. If it's just one of the minor arcana, then whichever suit it is going to dictate some dimension of your life. And this will also be, if it's minor arcana, it'll be more decisions based. It'll be smaller, shorter arc of time with it, less about identity formation, more about calibration, if that makes sense. And that could be with career, creativity, relationships, or what's the other one? Oh, we just blew the heart away. Conflict, communication. Oh, sorry, we blew the little heart away. Okay, we shuffle a little bit more here. How are we feeling, group one? How are we feeling about this? I think we have our establishing card here. Let's just flip it over. I'm curious. Well, there it is. See, you have already your establishing card is going to be about justice. Justice to be served. Also, I'm a Sun and Moon Libra, so whenever I see those skills, I get a little bit, I'm ready to talk my shit. Okay, and also, it looks like that plantain is the herb that accompanies this. I'm not sure what that means, but just letting you know. Okay, we're talking about justice in your life. What are we going to do? Stop, yield to, and go when it comes to establishing some justice or justice coming your way. Let's see. Let's have a look. Stop. Erica Kirk, stop. Stop it. Oh my God. God forgive me that I said that. Yield. Yield, doggy. Yield. Also, how is this looking in the frame? Oh, we gotta pull these up. You can't see nothing. Here we go. Sorry, guys. I ain't flipped these cards over yet anyway. Let's turn this sideways so we can see better. You know, we gotta work with what we got. Okay, and then our go card. What's our big yes card? Oh, I see it. Ready? Justice. Justice next to the heart. Interesting. Interesting. Stop. Eight of Pentacles. Okay, well that's physical. Ginger associates with this card. Interesting to see that. Eight of Pentacles. That is going to be, well, I always see that kind of as a bit of a apprenticeship. Although this one kind of looks like the Seven of Pentacles, like he's kind of looking like at what he's built. But things are growing around him. Okay, but we need to stop with, okay, stop with Eight of Pentacles. Next, yield to the Two of Cups. Interesting. It's about relationships, y'all. Maybe a relationship. Go with the Ten of Pentacles. All right, group one. So we have an interesting and very, I kind of like it. I find this reading and the way that we're going to read these cards together quite satisfying because you have the judge's mallet of justice, like slamming down on each of these cards and like bringing a verdict. And with the glyph and with the Two of Cups, I am going to read this as like there's a potential imbalance between, there's a relationship at play, but then taking stock on and placing a verdict on the intentions behind the work that's happening around it, especially with this card, with the Eight of Pentacles. So if we're reading here first, your stop card is the Eight of Pentacles, and justice is like, boom. This is saying bringing justice to work that you're doing. And if you have, you know, on the surface, being like, stop working is not like the best advice. But when it comes to the intentions behind the work, something tells me here that group one is having an issue with hiding behind their work and avoiding relational, emotional issues with somebody else. So justice is saying the time is now to realize that what you're doing with this energy of Eight of Pentacles is something that you're using as to be kind of avoidant of group two. There are some issues within this relationship, I believe, and some people are just super avoidant. So I feel like we're getting like an avoidant energy in group one here. When you're just saying, well, you justify your avoidance by saying, well, I'll just go work. I'll go do something else. Maybe your your love language, if you will, is acts of service, or you don't know how to do anything other than work. Maybe it's like a little bit of workaholic kind of thing. I could also read this as the relationship's already a little bit suspicious. And so you just busy yourself with your work because like, well, at least you can depend on that, right? But something's saying like, you need to stop using this as a way to sort of cope with the dynamic here in whatever way you're avoiding this. Stop that right now because it's blocking blessings. Okay, that's what I'm saying. All right, then Judge Judy's over here with her orb and her weights and her plantain, slamming on Two of Cups and says, here's my verdict for this. We yield to this relationship, okay? I'm keeping this reading a little open-ended because it's a little bit up to you. The message could go a couple of ways, right? You are in a position where there is reconciliation to be done in your relationship, especially it's going to be the February 14th. It's almost Valentine's Day, right? This energy's coming up beforehand. So on the one hand, stopping and saying, maybe there's some reconciliation that can happen, because this is our yellow card, right? Yield to the relationship. We yield and we make a maybe, yes or no. So in our yes situation with this card, we would say reconciliation can be made, but you need to take accountability. You know what? I just made up a new word. Accountability is accountability and availability. Okay, you need to have accountability with this card, okay? If you are the one that is causing more or less more of the imbalance with this relationship, then, visualizing a really good thing to do between you and your partner. Like, say this has been a long-standing relationship and you guys otherwise have a pretty decent relationship, all things considered. What I think can be a very good exercise for couples to do is stop and say, each of you needs to envision what you would like your relationship with the other person to look like, and dream big. Dream big. And if both of you agree that you both want to work towards that, that can be reinvigorating to a relationship. It can realign things and make things going forward a lot more harmonious. Sometimes especially if one person's working all the time, or maybe both are, there's not a lot of communication. Like, this is kind of showing there's been a little bit of neglect of the relationship. And sometimes that neglect, if it goes on too long, means the end of the relationship. So taking stock, the both of you, on where things should go and whether or not you guys can still be aligned would be a very good option here. Okay. Now in our yielding card, if we go the no direction, it kind of shifts the imbalance here. I sort of feel like if we say the relationship is no and you're making a decision that the relationship's not going to work, it is you who's in a position of not getting your needs met. And now is the time. Mallet. Now is the time to make some decisions about that. Do you want to experience that love for the rest of your life? Do you want to have your nervous system activated in such a way the rest of your life? Do you want to experience the same kind of lower vibration emotions that you associate with that person for the rest of your life? And if you have the privilege to get out, because another thing too, when it comes to relationships, sometimes it's not just about how you feel about that person. There are a lot of practical elements that can still keep a person together or apart. But these cards are talking about how there is a time, a moment here and now to reconcile by getting out of the relationship, if you have the capacity to do so. So that would be our yield card, right? I kind of like seeing the Two of Cups as a yield card because we can kind of read it two ways. And then you, listener, get to use your intuition. Now the outcome, when you have yielded and used your discernment with what the Two of Cups and the Eight of Pentacles means to you, is you get a very positive card here. You get the 10 of Pentacles, right? Justice slamming on the 10 of Pentacles. If you make the right decision based on your deepest inner knowing, you're going to have even more abundance, because you started with 8, you took a break, figured out what was going on here, and then boom, you are more aligned. There was more abundance, right? And the abundance either comes, like, this is not a neutral card, it has to do with relationships. The abundance comes based on some type of reconciliation. The reconciliation of getting closer and reprioritizing the relationship or ending it. That is where it is at. And then if we lay our little heart on top of justice, right? Justice comes from a place of love. In my opinion, like I said, I'm Sun, Moon, Libra. My sense of justice, and if I'm ever being harsh, it's from a place of love, because any reading I'm doing, I just want it to be for the person's growth. And she can be a little bit direct. She can be a little blunt, right? She's not mincing words. But on the other hand, sometimes you gotta grow a little thick skin and face the music. You know what I'm saying? So this is group 1's reading. I don't feel any need to pull any supplemental cards here. But I hope you enjoyed it. And we're going to move on over now to group 2, our infinity sign. All right, group 2, welcome. Those of you who chose this glittery, you can tell if you can see it's very metallic infinity sign. Let's see what your reading's all about today. We're using the Herbal Tarot deck. And let's see what your reading's all about. Okay, here. Reading is all about King of Pentacles in reverse. Not only is this about resources, but also court cards signify this could be about another person in your life. But seeing it in reversed, that could mean a lot of different things. Your stop card. Next is your yield card, your maybe card. And lastly is going to be your go card. Oh, I see it. Okay. We just move these over like so. Put him sideways, okay? But we pulled him in reverse. We'll keep that in mind. All right, your stop card with the King of Pentacles. 5 of Pentacles reversed. Okay, your yield card. Judgment reversed. We got a lot of reversals here. I just shuffled these and put them 50-50 reversals and upright. So it's very significant seeing a lot of reversals. Your go card, Temperance in reverse. Okay, well, I'm seeing lots of pentacles here. It's either pentacle or major arcana. So if we have Judgment and we have Temperance here, I'm feeling more or less like this has something to do with resources, but potentially with another person, right? Court cards are always like, we need to talk about another person. So another person being in your life and what they might represent, the King of Pentacles, but they're in reverse. So that would be like a blockage with the mastery of career resources and things like that. That could be a brain drain. And that the energy that you need to bring to the function is stop with the 5 of Pentacles in reverse, like upright. 5 of Pentacles upright is very miserly and like, yeah, not having anything. It's giving poverty. But seeing it, you wanted to stop with that in reverse. Girl, that's interesting. Okay, and then you have Judgment, a major arcana in reverse. And then go with Temperance in reverse. Y'all thinking what I'm thinking? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right, this reading it's about a power imbalance here. We don't have, in group 1, our major card was about justice and fairness. These current cards are not talking about justice coming in the immediate future with this reading, but it is bringing up decisions that should be made about the behavior of the person alongside group 2. So this doesn't represent you. I don't read this as you, group 2. I read this as a person very close to you. And when King of Pentacles is in reversed, because this is how we pulled it, this is a mismanagement of resources or somebody who's very controlling with their resources, withholding. Think like when they give something, they do it with vested interest. It's extremely transactional. And I wouldn't maybe necessarily jump to conclusions that this person's like extremely evil. But when the behavior matches evil things, there can be some negative, dark qualities to this person. And when I see it alongside these cards, this is a message to the querent, to group 2, that you should realize a couple of things and make some potential decisions if you're able to here. Okay, so 5 of Pentacles reverse, when we have this as the red stop card, is saying stop believing that this is the best that you can do. Stop believing that this is all that there is. Stop believing this is the only way for you to get support. Okay, so this seems almost like a little bit like it could be like trauma bond call out, and that could be familial. It could be like you with a parent that like holds resources over your heads. It could be a toxic family situation. It could be a relationship or like a super close and meshed friendship, right? Slightly vague. I'm not going to pick just one of those, so you kind of choose. But the dynamic is that this other person has more power and control over you based on resources. And this card is saying like you have to see that like a good percentage of your belief of safety and security only coming from them is a false belief. Now the next is something's telling me if you need to be yielding to judgment, and we have this in reverse, it's saying that like reconciling with this person and trying to, get them to take some accountability or to get them to change. This card is saying no, right now, we don't need to be doing any of that. You need to kind of move quietly and recognize that like a person's actions is the biggest tell of their intentions. And if they're constantly moving weird, because he's moving weird, that you can't get them to move straight. You can't get them to move right. And a conversation about like what they're doing, like they know what they're doing. They're doing what they're doing because it helps them maintain some type of status quo. That's a tale as old as time. It's giving man. It's giving a man, or that sort of like uninitiated, naive, red-pilled masculine energy is coming from him. You can't really reason with that when they're like so far gone. You know what I mean? So saying don't worry so much about like you're not at a point where you're going to get closure from them when you make the right decision for yourself. Don't expect it, because trying to leave a dynamic, or when you actually do successfully leave a dynamic, will leave you with the ghost of like wanting closure, wanting them to have been able to not mess it up, and that you think that that might heal something in you. It's sort of like an itch you just can't scratch, can't scratch, can't scratch. And that's also partially why people don't leave. Right. Trauma bonds and, toxic relationships are very, very complex. Trust me, I know. Okay, but this is saying also there's a little bit of like a safety factor here. Like, don't confront. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if this guy's kind of narcissistic, this person rather is a little bit narcissistic, they have some, like I said, they're moving weird, like logic and rationale and like setting down the judgment of what's happening to their face. No. But if we're yielding to it, take that judgment and move it upright and say, okay, what if we did bring judgment, but just to what's within your control? What can you judge about your situation that's within your control? That there's the Five of Pentacles energy. Like, if I pull the Five of Pentacles in reverse, this can sometimes be a positive card, but since it's a stop card, it wouldn't have mattered, in my opinion, if it had been upright or not. Stopping with this sort of miserly mindset here. And like, I think if I see it in reversed, right, that we think that, like, if you just pulled the Five of Pentacles in reverse in and of itself, it could mean like the opposite of miserliness. But when we're pulling it in conjunction with these other cards, I see it more of like an exaggeration or the unlearned lesson of the Four of Pentacles, which is super miserly. So that's how I'm feeling about that. And then we have Temperance in reverse here. Okay, and another major arcana card here, okay? Let's put this back as it was. Now remember, Temperance upright is all about patience and about letting things temper to the right time. When I'm reading this in reverse, we're saying that we don't really need to let things temper anymore. Again, temperance in and of itself, upside down, reverse, can be like a big, like, let things go, let things move, and let the change happen. And seeing that this is our go card, that's exactly what's happening here. Sometimes people, and myself included, can get like mildly frustrated when we pull Temperance upright, because it's all about, it's not exactly patience, but it's basically like, let things stew a little bit, let things macerate, let things just kind of like take the time they take so that like when it's done right. Make it nice or make it twice. But when, so you're just sort of like, meh. I've pulled Temperance so many times in my life when I'm like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know what's happening. What should I do? And then it's like, have Temperance though. Could you just have a little Temperance? My guides are like, and I'm like, no. So in reverse, it's a little bit refreshing. It's a little bit refreshing here. So group 2, power and control dynamics are a very huge part of our current zeitgeist. It's just how people move. A lot of people want to have power and like their egos just be running a certain way. And like, if you are watching this and you're subscribed to my channel, you enjoy my content, then we vibe. A baddie recognizes a baddie, right? Real recognize real. But sometimes us hypersensitive girlies, in the sense of like being one of the girls, we can often find ourselves in the bargaining without knowing, and we end up with something like this. We find a relationship like this. Many maidens find themselves, or those who have the maiden energy, end up with one of these kings in reverse. Like, all the kings in reverse are like shades of the same thing. Now, we have an infinity sign here. This is, infinity's not about like this never coming to an end, just infinitely being with this person that's like deeply unsatisfying and destabilizing to our nervous systems. It's about proper energy and flow. So think about this more transcendentally and positively when all these cards are taken into account. If you're going to take the advice of these cards and find a way to, take some action in your life. And really, I only read this as finding a way to distance yourself from whatever this is, right? That new and infinite abundance and possibilities are waiting for you. The infinity sign's also in the Rider-Waite deck. I don't think it's in this particular deck, but like you'll see it on the Strength card and the Magician card, right? And they're using that infinity sign of like having infinite abundance, like infinite strength, infinite resources to do something themselves. So I feel like that this is kind of the supplemental glyph that we need for this kind of reading. So yeah. Godspeed to you. Also, if we are to kind of talk about this more through like trigger warning, domestic violence, like I understand that it's not that simple. But sometimes when your guides are bringing up something like this and they want you to have that message, it's from a place of trying to keep you safe and saying like destiny's kind of coming and a decision has to be made. The winds are shifting, right? And in that way, I would also like to see group 2 have high amounts of discernment, street smarts, play 4D chess. Like, you know, if also too, there's some books I could recommend. There's a book called Why Does He Do That? I would read that in silence. Like I said, judgment, keep it to yourself. Have discernment if you read that book. Read the 48 Laws of Power, for example. It's kind of a yucky read. It's a very individualistic read, but for people who move like this, pretty imperative read. And I'd also recommend when you're going through this, once, say for example, you have kind of like left and righted the situation, read Women Who Run with the Wolves if you haven't read it yet. Start reading that book. Okay? Okay. I'm going to close this reading for group 2. We're going to get started with group 3. All right, group 3, if you chose piping hot tea, these cards better not disappoint. We've got our tea kettle and our teacup. It's giving piping hot tea, spilling the tea. It's giving Alice in Wonderland vibes. So you must have picked this because it kind of gave you some visceral sensation of what could possibly be foretold. All right, so as I've told group 1 and group 2, if you're only tuning in for group 3, I'm just explaining that we're doing a 4-card pull, an establishing card about what dimension of life we need to stop, yield, and go with. And then we'll pull 3 cards for that, like our traffic light cards, okay? Oh, I feel like this is the establishing card. Death. Okay. All right. Rebirth, transformation, things like that. Okay. T. Okay. Can you see this, by the way? Okay. I also want to turn him on the side, but we pulled her upright. Such a cool card for death, honestly. All right. Stop card. Okay. Yield and go card. All right. Simple it is. But first, can we just admire this? Like, when I saw Death in the Herbal Tarot, like when I saw this, it looks so cool. She's so spooky. I love it. With elderflowers. Okay, Death. What are we stopping with when it comes to transformation? Because remember, if it's a major arcana card coming as your establishing card, this is something external and unavoidable that's coming, but you have some choices on how you're going to handle it, right? 4 of Pentacles. Okay, resources. Stop being miserly. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something, okay? I can laugh at myself. Now, for years and years of my 20s, like when I'd pull a card for like my highest good, like what should I understand about myself? 4 of Pentacles, 4 of Coins, and any deck I had, I'd always pull this card, which is about basic survival. Like on the one hand, you've established something for yourself, but you're like, I could never have more. Oh my God. Like I couldn't make another change. I couldn't do anything different because like, what if I lose what I have, even though what I have probably isn't enough and I don't feel in alignment with trusting source. Yeah, that's this card. That's this card. And like, look at like, is that an outhouse in the background? Is that her home, an outhouse? She's like, don't you come and take my outhouse from me. Yeah, embarrassing. 4 of Pentacles is kind of an embarrassing card. Okay, stop with that. Yield to King of Cups reverse. Okay. Yield to a person, but they're in reverse. Oh, okay. Okay, and then yes with Queen of Cups upright. Okay, so you need to yield it to another person who represents a relationship who is blocked. Like, ideally, we'd like to see him upright, but he's having some problems with his emotions. So I'm going to take the King of Cups reverse as somebody in your life who is blocked emotionally and spiritually, but has the capacity to be the King of Cups. And the King of Cups is somebody who's not just like, I think like the Knight of Cups is like a really overt romantic lover, but King of Cups is somebody who's more like remember, something I didn't understand about tarot, or I had a misconception about tarot, is that the most virtuous cards are the ones that had the best like moral footing. I always thought they would be like the kings and the queens, but they're not. They're just like the most established and mastered in each of those dimensions of life. So just because the King of Cups has mastered his emotions doesn't necessarily mean that he's virtuous. Like, he could work in many lines of work and he would be very successful because he knows emotions and he knows how to appeal to other people's emotions. That means that he can be persuasive, but persuasion's just manipulation with good intentions. Okay. But to see this in reverse, I would read this not so much as somebody, I'd see somebody who's blocked in that dimension of life. So you're yielding to somebody in your life. You need to stop with your miserliness. You need to yield and take stock on King of Cups reverse. And it's likely this person and this card, these two cards are connected, because if you're attracting, like, King of Cups reverse is miserly in and of himself. If he's blocked in his ways of giving abundantly with his love and with his care, like, and this card's also in the function, like, we need to see that you need to shift your priorities and your focus over here. What can you learn? Like, I'd use this card as yield to it in the sense that what can you learn from the presence of this person in your life? What does it indicate about your life choices? What does it indicate about what you believe is possible when it comes to your relationships? Because it's also manifesting physically. This feels like a lot of wasted time and dead ends and just sort of habit and business as usual, but it's just dying, right? So if we apply death to it, death is like, enough of this. Death is like, enough of him. And death wanting this to happen, rather. I wouldn't say like death to her, right? Because this is our go card. But we're kind of laying death over the two of these. And now look it, if we just kind of let death swallow these, goodbye, then you could pour into your cup. Can you see this properly? Pour. What's left when death takes these other things away is the Queen of Cups. Is that at the end of all of this, you're actually somebody who has so much emotional intelligence. You're caring, you're nurturing. The gift side of the Queen of Cups is somebody who interpersonally has a lot to give, but her shadow side is that she can have no boundaries. She can be enmeshed with people. I'm assuming like very easy for her to get enmeshed with another person who like can't be emotionally available, but like feeds off of you. Get rid of him. Okay. Enmeshment. And this is also like kind of almost like the mother of all mothers. Like, mothers in general tend to be women who have a lot to give to the point of smothering, right? But you can smother also yourself with lack of boundaries here. But when we let death come in and we have Queen of Cups upright, we would assume that this woman, person who's emulating Queen of Cups energy, has become fully initiated in herself emotionally and knows how to navigate her life and nurture people appropriately. And she gladly allows death in when there's something in her life that is not allowing her to fill up her cup. Because you can't fill up your cup, girl. You can't fill up your cup when you got to go clean the outhouse. You're trying to fill up his cup and the water's not even going in. He's right next to an ocean, by the way, and he's still like, could you fill up my cup? Can't even fill it up because it's upside down. He's like, I just don't know who's going to help me. Like, this is giving passport, bro. It's giving the guy who wants to go 50-50 on the bill. All right, sorry, y'all. I was cooking and then I got cooking and then I got kicked off of the video. Anyways, as we were saying, yeah, he's giving passport, bro. He's giving going 50-50 on the bill. He's going, I'll take everything you can give me, but I won't give anything in return. And also what you give me, I won't be able to integrate it or appreciate it because I'm blocked. So death is not like literally killing him. Probably not. It's just saying, okay, well, what if we said stop to you thinking that the outhouse is as good as it's gonna get with your King of Cups reversed? She's like, let me just swallow these and compost these into an alchemical experience that can make you into this. And look they're almost holding hands. The sun, like, okay, the sun is rising between the both of them. If you match their horizons, they're standing side by side, Lady Death and Lady Life, Queen of Cups. Right, when we said Queen of Cups, she is upright, the most integrated in her emotional self. She's caring, she's nurturing. But what if she didn't have to care for people that didn't appreciate her? What if she could just tend to her own garden, care for people that really actually can benefit from and will show gratitude towards her? Then she can grow wild, like the lady's mantle does here. She has her cup, she knows how to hold it upright. But notice she's not pouring it anywhere else. Maybe Lady Death wants to pour her a cup of tea. Shh. All right, that's Group 3's reading for today. Okay, y'all, that's the end of this video today. You know, in hindsight, I did not anticipate every single card pull to be a relationship dynamic, if I'm being completely honest. But the cards were very specific today, so I guess this was something of a relationship reading. Although, if I was looking to fall in love, I'm not sure I'm not sure if I would have felt encouraged by those cards. But I've always said if I do a love reading, I'm not going to delude you. No, 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 no. Okay, if I had to pick one of these that represents the way I feel about love readings, I'd say like love comes if love shows me love's coming. Otherwise, we're just going to spill the tea about what's happening, and I'm going to do that forever till the day I die. Love is a very important part of life. Relationships are a very important part of life. But you know what is the most important love you can have is love, as cliche as it sounds, love for yourself, love for your creator, and all the rest follows. Because if those are not full, as RuPaul says, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love anybody else? Or something like that, right? Right. Thanks for tuning in today, y'all. My name is Claire. Again, if you like these videos, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and tune in with me every day of the week now. I'm not going anywhere, and I'll be happy to pull some cards. It's my favorite pastime. All right, y'all. Have a good rest of your day. We'll see you the next time. Bye-bye.